Secretary?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I call the regular meeting of the Milliken Board of Trustees for December 8th, 2021 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the town clerk please call roll?
Trustee Granquist.
Yes. Here.
Trustee Long.
Here.
Trustee Meisner.
Here.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Here.
Trustee Wakeman.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
Here.
Mayor Austin.
Here. Okay, does anyone have any additions or deletions to the agenda? I am noting that the consent agenda was updated late. No changes, I'll take a motion.
I move we approve.
Second. Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Long.
Yes.
Trustee Meisner.
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman.
Yes.
Trustee Granquist.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Okay, do we have any citizens' comments tonight? Citizens' comments are on subjects that are not on the agenda for a public hearing.
We're talking about the proposal.
That's on the agenda, so that will come up a little bit later. Mhm.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything other than? Well, we'll just skip right over citizens' comments then. Is there any discussion or comments on the meeting minutes of November 22nd, 2021? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
Move we approve the. Second.
Rush on the second there. Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Meisner.
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman.
Yes.
Trustee Granquist.
Yes.
Trustee Long.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Okay, up next is the town administrator's report. Administrator Powell.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and trustees. First off, I would like to introduce a new employee to the town. John, if you could come up, please. This is John Rabus. He is our Streets and Facilities Director. John, help me out here. So it's over 20-some years you've had in municipal experience, primarily in the streets division. So John has worked for other municipalities, and we are fortunate enough to have him working for us.
Very good.
Welcome, John.
Welcome.
Wait till it snows.
On that note, too, I would like to comment about the Festival of Lights. I think it was successful as always. So kudos to the Milliken Events Committee, to town staff and the volunteers that helped support this event. Unfortunately, I did read a few items on social media that were somewhat negative regarding the event. But, you know, with social media, you're going to have that. And I think there are far more people grateful to have this event. So I would like for those that it affected, and it did affect a lot of people, the negative comments, to understand that there's a lot of people that appreciate it. This is an event that has been held for, you know, quite a few decades in Milliken, and it kind of kicks off the holiday season, the holiday spirit. So I just want to, honor that by telling you thank you for what you do for the town. Trustee Meisner. So storm windows for the Heritage House. So we did receive a bid from Moffett Glass. The bid came in at $1,700, which I think is very reasonable. And so staff will speak with them and get moving on that. I did submit the administrative grant to the Department of Local Affairs for help with the engineering on Cherry Street. This grant is for $25,000. I submitted it last Friday, and I will let you know what the outcome is on that. GOCO grant that we submitted, well, it wasn't for the grant, but our concept plan that was submitted was not accepted to move forward to the application process. We will be meeting with them in January to go over the deficiencies in our submittal and resubmit again in February. Safe Routes to School, staff has reached out to the consultant overseeing the Safe Routes to School grants, and we will be meeting with them after the first of the year. This grant, they are going to release the applications in August of 2022 with project proposals due in, I believe it was October of 2022. The warrant study that we just had completed at the end of August, and we received notification that we did not meet the warrant on the traffic study of Highway 60, Centennial Drive, and Weld County Road 23 3/4. So I have reached out once again to our engineering firm that is working through with the consultant that did the traffic study. Due to the horrific accident that occurred a few weeks ago at that intersection, plus a few other minor accidents that have occurred this year in 2021, I would like them to relook at this warrant or the study to see if, because of these incidents occurring, if we do not meet the warrants. So I will let you know what I find out regarding that. Broadband. So the 4 towns have met with 2 broadband companies. We met with them on November 23rd and interviewed them. We will be meeting with the 3rd on December 16th and see what comes of that interview. And we will let you know on all 3 what the pros and cons would be with any of them. Tim Scott, who has been acting as our owner's rep, we've decided to keep him on for approximately 3 months until we get through all this process. He's been extremely beneficial. He knows the questions to ask. He has the most experience, of course, in this. This is what he does. So we're asking him to remain with us for at least another 3 months and then reevaluate. At this time, we've decided also to split the cost of him because we're all equally sharing his expertise at this point. That cost will be about $1,200 a month, our portion.
So, quick question, rolling signal light buyer at
Yes.
if they agree to that, are we also going to try to get from that light
To
light at
Alice?
Alice?
I think that would be a very wise move. If a signal light goes in there, you're asking people to go from a stop to 55 and then you're hitting Alice. I think a more reasonable speed limit through that area would be 45 because then you're going from 45 at Alice Avenue, it turns to 30. I think at that time too, it allow folks that maybe turn on to 60 from Traders Lane the opportunity to do so. It would be a suggestion that we would make to the Colorado Department of Transportation, since Highway 60 is their road and they determine the limit. So, but I think it would be a very good thing to have.
Just a follow-up comment to the lights. A lot of that discussion was started by a post that I when I was informed that we had broke our barricade and drove the wrong way down in the middle of our parade. It frightened of our high school. Young son behind them, he would not get hit. The board has been, or the military board has been, we are going to try one more year, keeping the parade down to business. We'd like to see the parade. However, we're barricades, more notification businesses down. They have customers around parade time. They're not able to get out, and we will circle back with the this. I hope that if it over one person broke barricades, I don't, but we'll circle back. We do have officers at either end of town with our work stuff. There were quite a few good community suggestions that we've taken, so we will certainly again can't move it to Saturday. Our work day, it would be a tremendous burden for the community. Pay the overtime. And we want to keep it on Friday, where it has been tradition. Will up as our main concern, especially the but children on the road, the band. This parade is supposed to be a joyous, and as we know from other parades, so that's the update on the
town staff and by Milligan Vince.
Thank you. I'll accept. We don't normally but
Live on. But they can make a rain be there.
the water bill, and we post all sorts of and we'll okay. Just following up on a couple of other items I'm aware of. Our police department has risen just over for so I compliment our officers on trying to get the speeding under control. If you were the recipient of one of those tickets, slow down. Those lives are at stake. Also, our police department did some excellent work. They had some break-ins up in the Mad Russian area. They did arrest a suspect, a career criminal, recovered some stolen property. I can't give out too many details, still under investigation, but I wanted to compliment our officers. Done very much. That's all I wanted to say. Moving on to the consent agenda. We have two items on the consent agenda. I'll take a motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
I second it.
Town clerk, for a vote.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman. Trustee Granquist.
Yes.
Trustee Long.
Yes.
Trustee Meisner.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Action agenda. We have a public hearing to consider an application for a conditional use review for Black Sheep Coffee. This is presented by Pepper McClanahan, Community Development Director.
Mayor and trustees, Before you ties the public hearing to consider an application for a conditional use review and resolution 2116 to allow a drive-through restaurant in the MU-CD district on lots 19 and 20, block 39, town of Milliken, and lot A, block 39 of Iron Horse replat. This property is located on the northeast corner of Broad Street and Harriet. For property information, the location, as mentioned, is on the corner of Broad and Harriet. The property is currently vacant. The owners are Omega Electric, Wayne Landwehr, and the applicant is Jake Bachman, authorized representative on behalf of the owner. Surrounding land uses are to the north are single-family residential. To the west is commercial and auto repair shop. To the south is also commercial, another auto repair shop. And to the east it's commercial, which currently is dog grooming owned by Rocky Hofsnyder. As mentioned, the zoning is mixed use downtown commercial, and the comprehensive plan designates the Broad Street corridor for downtown commercial and business uses. Initial notice was mailed to surrounding property owners within 300 feet of the proposed development and published in the Johnstown Breeze on October 28, 2021 in compliance with the requirements of the list. I do want to stop and make sure that folks understand the application before us is strictly for the use. The applicant and the owner have not submitted a site plan for review. That will come to us at a later date should the use be approved. So this staff report is prepared in accordance with the Land Use Code, Section 16.2.150, which is the MUCD district, and Section 16.6.360, which is the conditional use review. So the applicant is requesting approval for the property of a drive-through restaurant. The proposed use could be a coffee shop, but understand that the use runs with the land. It is a drive-through restaurant, which means it could hold long-term, if constructed, a number of different types of drive-through restaurants. The site plan will be submitted for the physical development and construction and design of the site, so we're not discussing the physical development of the site this evening. At the applicant's written request, the public hearing for the Planning Commission that was originally scheduled for November 17th was continued to the December 1st Planning Commission meeting. 16.3.360 outlines the criteria of approval for a conditional use permit. Number one, that the conditional use permit is consistent with the intent and purpose and other uses of the zoning district in which it is proposed. The Board of Trustees did approve by ordinance number 793 on August 25th of 2021 to add drive-through restaurants as a conditional use in the MUCD district, and staff finds that condition criteria number one is met. Number two, the conditional use will satisfy all applicable provisions of the Land Use Code and subdivision regulations unless a variance is requested. The property is already platted, so a subdivision review is not applicable in this case, and the conditional use will be required to be followed up before physical development of the land with the site plan, which will also come through review processes. So staff finds that criteria number two has been met. Criteria number three, the conditional use will conform with other or future goals, policies, and strategies set forth in the comprehensive plan and the Milliken's Parks Open Space and Trails Master Plan. The area is not proposed for any trails. It does have sidewalks already constructed for connectivity to trails and open spaces in Milliken. As well, this comprehensive plan, as mentioned previously, calls for this to be a commercial downtown corridor. So staff finds that criteria number three has also been met. Criteria number four, the conditional use will be adequately served with public utilities, services, and facilities. and will not impose an undue burden above and beyond those of the permitted uses of the district. Water and sewer are available in the area, and the use would not be impose a burden above and beyond the other commercial uses that are in the area. So staff finds that criteria number 4 has been satisfied. Criteria number 5, the conditional use will not substantially alter the basic character of the district in which it is located or jeopardize the development or redevelopment potential of the district. Again, the use is proposed is commercial in nature, which is consistent with the basic character of the district, and drive-through restaurants are a conditional use in the NUCD district, so staff finds that criteria number 5 has been met. Criteria number 6, the conditional use permit will result in efficient use and off-site traffic circulation, which will not have a significant adverse impact on adjacent use or result in hazardous conditions for pedestrians or vehicles in or adjacent to the site. The site is located on a corner lot. There are no curb cuts directly onto Highway 60 or Broad Street. Those are determined and permitted only through CDOT. At this point in time, they're very reluctant to add additional curb cuts to the area. The property has access off of Harriet Street, which is a less congested street, and the traffic circulation will be addressed at the site plan stage. So staff finds that criteria number 6 has been satisfied. Criteria number 7, pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought somebody was speaking. Criteria number 7 addresses negative impacts of the conditional use on the neighborhood that have been mitigated. Setbacks, architecture, and the other items listed in criteria 7 have more to do with site planning than the actual use itself. However, those have not been submitted through a site plan at this point in time. Staff feels that they can be or have to be through code addressed in the site plan process. And so staff feels that criteria number 7 can also be met. Criteria number 8 is that the applicant has submitted evidence that all local, state, and federal permits have or will be obtained. Those will be a requirement prior to the business license that will be issued by the town prior to opening of the activity. And so staff finds that criteria number 8 has been met. Referral comments were received from agencies, had to mostly due to address mostly the site planning and site design phase rather than the actual use itself. Those comments included ensuring that there was enough stacking for vehicles on the property to avoid traffic backups, obstruction on local streets such as Harriet and also Highway 60, and designing the site to provide adequate stormwater management, and that commercial building permits with full construction plans will be required. Again, those comments are more applicable to the site plan, which has not been submitted. I note that the application packet from the applicant did include a conceptual plan. It is not a site plan, and we are not considering the physical design or development of the site. Staff recommends and finds that the applicant's request is consistent with the town comprehensive plan, land use code, and conditional review criteria. Staff finds that the use with conditions recommended below will be compatible with surrounding land uses and meets the intent of the MUCD district. Staff recommends the following conditions of approval. Number 1, that this conditional use review shall only apply to drive-through restaurants with approval of the site plan. Number 2, a site plan must be approved prior to commencement of any use on the property. The site plan application will comply with all requirements of the municipal code, which include traffic, landscaping, parking, and the other requirements of the site plan. Number 3, prior to commencement of the use, the applicant must also submit any required applications and obtain required permits, including but not limited to commercial building and sign permits, business licenses, and any food service licenses and inspections. These conditions of approval shall become part of the town's business license for the use. Number 4, the conditional use review shall be reviewed annually by town staff. And a report of compliance with the conditions of approval provided to the Planning Commission and the Board of Trustees. Number 5, this conditional use review may be revoked for non-compliance with the conditions of approval and violations of the terms of the business license issued by the town pursuant to procedures in Section 6-1-16. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on December 1st, and after reviewing input from one citizen and testimony from the applicant, forwarded a recommendation of approval to the Board of Trustees with the conditions outlined by staff. There are suggested motions available for your use should you decide to use them, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Pepper. This is a public hearing, so we will go to public comment. The time is 6:56, and I'm opening the public hearing. Anybody who wishes to speak needs to approach the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Your mics. It's very hard to hear.
Okay. Can you hear me better now? Okay. How's that? Okay. At 6:56, we've opened a public hearing. If you wish to speak. Public hearing.
Hi, yeah, my name is Nicholas Bodwin, 1572 South Core Avenue. I used to, Colorado Door Restore, used to rent from you guys. So the whole thing is how are you going to control the traffic from that corner without some sort of light? And we can't even get a light from where someone died, and we're asking to put in a light potentially for a drive-through, what quote unquote whatever, with future. We're supposed to just say, oh, it's okay, and then approve it, and then we'll figure it out later. It just seems it seems reckless, and I'm not cool with it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Val Coulter. I live on 122 North Harriet. Okay. Most of us have just found out about this because we don't read our mail. And that's something that, we're negligent on. But that corner is rough enough getting in and out of morning, noon, and night. It's dangerous for the children, it's dangerous for the parents, and putting a drive-through restaurant is not going to help that cause. We're a little worried about that. We don't want anybody getting killed because there's going to be a restaurant there. Also, we have mom and pop restaurants here. Why do we need a drive-through right downtown? Can we put it somewhere else, a little bit further out of town, where at least you have a chance to cross the road there because you got that area where it's vacant and you can see cars coming, and protect your kids when they go across. It's very dangerous and it's very aggravating for people there, and somebody is going to get hurt without a light there, without the management. I know that you've said yes, and they've said yes to everything that they, so far everything is pushed along to go through, but you've got to consider that that's going to be a danger to our citizens here and our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak? Okay.
I'm Ron Berner. I live at 772 Settlers Drive. My main concern with these restaurants and pop-ups are basically fire code. I do life safety as a professional. I do fire alarm installs and all that stuff. As local businesses comply with fire codes and everything else, how are they going to comply with fire codes with their business is my concern with this whole ordeal, especially with food trucks that are parked on the side. Are firefighters going to be notified if there is a fire, or are these going to affect our businesses that are actually structures on there that have fire systems or sprinkler systems installed? When these just trailers or whatever you want to call them get hauled away, usually they don't have systems installed to them. So you're potentially putting not only businesses at risk, you're also putting residents at risk by allowing these to be parked by trees or other structures without fire hydrants or anything like that by there. That's one of my concerns.
Okay.
That's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda Fabrizio. I live at 113 North Grace Avenue. What concerns me is I don't see how they can possibly have drive-through, how they can get in and out in that small area without really interfering with our streets coming from the north to the south. And right now, everybody uses it for a street. But behind the post office, that is not a street. It is an alley. It's always been an alley, but everyone uses it for a street now. And it's dangerous coming out of that onto Grace and up to the corner now, because they park that big old vehicle out there behind the town's mailboxes. When you come out of that alley, it's a very blind turn to turn out of there to go either up the street or for me to turn into my driveway, either way. And like Val said, 60 right now is so busy that it's very, very hard to get out of the streets that come up to 60 from Grace or Harriet, either one. I haven't paid attention to the others, but I know it's very difficult to get up to the street from Grace.
Okay. Thank you. Do I have any other comments? Fine.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Bodwin, 1572 South Core Avenue. My husband and I are both small business owners in the community, have lived here for a little over 10 years. I am proud to see that there's development planned and some infrastructure in place, but I think it would be better suited to the actual core of infrastructure for this town versus business development. I think a drive-through, as many people have commented, would be kind of reckless at that intersection. I think it would be better suited to be planned elsewhere in the town to support all the traffic going through that area. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? We have a gentleman stepping up to speak, and then you can circle back.
I'm Jake Bachman, 18470 County Road 19. So I want to introduce my wife, Amy Bachman. We're the applicants. So we, for you guys who don't know us, we own Black Sheep Coffee and Crepes in Johnstown. Longtime community members here, grew up on a farm outside just south of town. Basically, where this all came from is, we drive through here a lot. We drive through, whether we're going to a soccer game, dropping my son off at Milliken Elementary. My mom has drove through here for 30 years on the way to Greeley. And we just always see that option of whether we're in a hurry, the car's full of kids, late for work. You want to try to grab that quick cup of coffee or something like that along the way. And there just isn't any options. And when you look at pretty much any town outside of Johnstown and Milliken, we're basically a little area that doesn't have those drive-through options that most towns have. And so we would love the opportunity to bring that to Milliken. We started our business in Johnstown and have been a great community member there. My wife helped start the downtown association there. I'm currently the president of that. So we'd love to be a partner here in Milliken and be able to provide a business here that would bring in a massive amount of business and provide a lot of opportunities for the families here in town. from an economic standpoint, a lot of people have talked about the mass amount of traffic that is going through Milliken. A lot of those people are telling me that what they're doing is they're driving through Milliken and they're getting their coffee in Greeley. They're getting their coffee in Brighton. Or the other way around. They're coming from the other side and going through Johnstown and Milliken and going to Loveland. So what we want to do is we want to try to keep the business here in Milliken. That's, whether it's Johnstown, whether it's Milliken. I hate when I see all these people going through and then going to a corporate commercial operation in another town, taking their money, taking their sales tax, providing jobs in other communities while we're being used as a pass-through. And so what we want to do is we want to keep that business here. We want to supply the employees. Currently, we have, 30 employees in Johnstown, and we would love to be able to offer job opportunities, sales tax revenue, and we feel like we are a, benefit to the community. We always offer, family-friendly activities, with the concept, we're wanting to keep it fairly open. Those trees have been there for as long as I can remember, and we're wanting to keep that. That's why we went for more of a, smaller version of a coffee shop there, is to be able to still keep those trees, keep the character of downtown. While all this is just in the planning stage and will definitely be addressed in the full plan review, we're wanting to keep more of a historical look. My wife and I actually just finished renovating the historic Eureka building in downtown Johnstown, because one of the things we're passionate about is taking, opportunities in downtown like a vacant lot or a dilapidated old building and bring those back to a really functional part of a community. So that's what we're wanting to do here. Like I said, my son goes to Milliken Elementary. My older son runs around all over Milliken with his friends. And so I can definitely promise you when it comes to traffic and safety, that is something that is, a high priority for us, whether we're at the parade on Friday or whether kids are just running around town, they're wanting to come over for a hot chocolate. That is definitely going to be a top priority. We are working on a site plan to address, any concerns people have in terms of traffic flow, stacking, and obviously, most importantly, safety. And so all that will be addressed in the site plan review. But I want to make sure you guys know that where my wife and I are coming from is that is the number one thing. We've got kids running around this community, going to soccer games, everything like that. The last thing we want to do is ever be a burden on the community at all. We want to be only a source of optimism. But yeah, like I said, the previous owners or the current owners that we were purchasing the land from, they did a couple studies and they showed that there were days that peaked out at 8,000 cars on Highway 60. And that's a massive amount of business, but as we all know, many of those cars are just flowing through. What we're wanting them to do is we're wanting them to stop in Milliken, see what other things we have, even if it is just for a quick coffee, keeping some of their money here to provide jobs for, the high school kids here at Roosevelt and things like that. So I just want to thank you guys, for considering this. We think we'd be a great partner here in Milliken, and we really think we would bring a lot to the community, both from an economic and business standpoint, but also just for the community. We've been here for a long time, and we just want to keep growing the community and providing a lot of great opportunities. My wife and I have a huge heart, for all the kids, and so definitely safety is the number one thing. I know that that's a big concern for everybody, and we want to make sure you guys know that that was one of the first things we do, that I dropped my son off at the bus stop at 8:05 in the morning, but my other son doesn't have to be till preschool till 8:30. So we've spent a lot of time where we just come and park in that dirt lot and kind of hang out for 10 minutes before we buzz over to preschool, especially on these colder days. And we have sat there and kind of watched the traffic and tried to brainstorm, what can we do to be an asset to the community as opposed to, causing any impact at all. And so we want to make sure you guys know that, but we have a great plan ahead of us to be a part of the community, to really provide some neat opportunities, to keep some money in this town, but then also, keep the style and the aesthetics of downtown to be just another asset to, this, great historic downtown. But is there any questions, for us as the applicants?
I don't think so at this time. We'll finish public comment first.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely. If you guys have any questions, definitely let me know. But thank you guys so much for your consideration. And we're always open to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Pam, you wanted to add something? And then we'll check for anybody else.
Okay, again, my name is Val. I live on 122 North Harriet. I appreciate that you are a good business and that it would be nice to have that, but I don't agree with the fact that people come through the town to go to get their coffee, because they will go down 257 or they'll go the other way or they'll go down the other way. They don't like to come through our town to do their commuting because it is too congested. It is not the place to go. I mean, I don't know anybody that would really want to do that. I commute, my husband commutes, my kids commute. They don't want to go through town.
Ma'am, your comments need to come to the board.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
excuse me, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
That's okay.
I'm not against the restaurant. I'm against where it is. And I really hope that people would use it and stop in, but I don't think it's going to bring extra people there. Another comment that I really wanted to make clear was that we got North Harriet and Cherry and all of those little roads over there. At night, it's like a throughway through there. People go through there 50 miles an hour, and I am not kidding. They do that now. We just don't need any more of that on top of that, what we get. I mean, we're scared for our children there. I'm scared for myself. I don't even like to go out in the road there. Take my dog for a walk. If she gets off the leash, she's going to get hit. So that's pretty much why we are against it. It is like a throughway over there in the evening.
Okay.
And it sounds like a throughway.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Any final comments? Anybody else that wishes to speak? Okay, seeing none, it is 7:10 and I'm closing the public hearing. Okay. Moving on to board comment. Starting with Trustee Meisner. Do you have any questions or comments?
Well, the only comment I have is that the applicants have apparently, according to Pepper, have met all the requirements for a special use.
Okay. Trustee Rodriguez?
So I would have to disagree with that because we define a restaurant as establishment that is serving food and beverage. They are serving beverages. That not a drive. That is not a restaurant.
Take a look here.
Do we have a separate?
What?
Do we have a separate category for coffee shops outside of restaurant?
For the purpose of application and our definition of drive-through restaurant, it says restaurants, there's a drive-through means establishment in which principal business is the sale of beverages to a consumer in a ready-consumed state, and in which the design or principal method of operation for any portion of the business allow the food and beverage to be served directly to the consumer in a motor vehicle.
Okay.
So it's specifically stating food and beverages conjoined. It can't be one or the other.
It says food or beverages. Yes, sorry to interrupt.
Actually,
it says food and beverages ever.
Yeah, it says both.
So drive-through restaurant means an establishment. I'm reading from the municipal code definition section.
I am as well.
In which the principal business is the sale of food and beverages to the customer in a ready-to-consume state, and in which the design or principal method of operation or any portion of the business is to allow food or beverages to be served directly to the customer in a motor vehicle without the need for the customer to exit the motor vehicle.
Okay, well, Pepper, the issue here is the first part of that sentence says food and beverage, so it includes both. The second part is addressing the fact that the food or the beverage has to be served directly to the customer.
Correct.
Correct. So the establishment needs to be serving food and beverages, according to the definition. Okay. Any other comments on the use of the property? Trustee Wakeman.
It appears to me that that's open to a little bit of interpretation on food and beverage. We aren't even to the point of the use to talk about what type of food they maybe would be serving. I would think that if they're doing beverages, there may be rolls, some kind of snacks with it, that I don't think it's part of what we're discussing at this point.
Okay. What about comments on the use of the property?
I have none at this point.
Trustee Wong?
Nothing for me at this point.
Trustee Granquist?
I think I do, appreciate you reading that definition. I think it has to be defined or clarified what food is. I mean, generally you can't drink a coffee bean chocolate covered. So that could be, so what is food, and to what extent do they have to serve food to meet that definition? If we go strictly, and I think Matt maybe would have to, Attorney Gould would have to kind of fill us in on if there's anything to guide us on that. But I think it says or in the one section, but it says and the front. But, if most shops serve coffee beans and slight rolls or things like that along with the coffee that you can purchase. So if they do that, does that then put them in compliance with the concern?
The definition?
Yes. So that would be my comment on that. The comment on the traffic and stuff, I don't, from what I'm seeing on the proposed section, my question to the applicant would be more along the lines of, he's obviously done some cursory visual traffic studies. I don't know if he's got, official numbers or anything like that, but also kind of what they're expecting on a flow. How many vehicles can be on their lot versus, and how would they handle overages? If there's more people that can fit in their line, do they turn them away? How would they handle those kind of things? I think recent or similar challenges have been confronted with like Chick-fil-A or other places that have figured out ways to have double lines or speedier processes or something like that to accommodate so that there's not people hung out into road or traffic ways.
Yeah, we're not exactly addressing the site layout. However, I did take a look, and the property is only 104 feet long, approximately.
Right.
So that would be, you would get about 7 cars, is what I'm just kind of guessing. Maybe 9 before you start flowing out into the roadway. So I'm with you on that one. I do have a concern about traffic. Do you have any other concerns?
So, yeah, my cursory calculation was about 10 to 12.
Okay.
Just from looking at like both on the turns and everything else, up to what looked like the second pickup window. And then also the exit into the alley, a one-way turn or, somehow, I think all those things have to be addressed. Not that we're addressing them now, but I do see it as a possibility. I think it sounds like the applicant is willing to accommodate or is trying to accommodate. I do like having businesses in town. I think we ought to give opportunity for businesses to plant and grow, as long as they are cooperative and accommodating with those, things like traffic, which is going to be their big hurdle.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich, comments, questions?
Yes, I'm just going to comment that, this is for conditional use review of the property and not nothing set in stone when it's going to go into that property. That still has to be applied for, and site plan and all that stuff is coming later. That doesn't mean that we're going to approve a coffee shop or a restaurant or drive-through if we approve the conditional use plan tonight. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, so my final comments are, I do have a concern about traffic backing up in that area. It doesn't look like you can get a lot of people into that drive-through. And I am concerned about approving it for the use, creating the issue, and then trying to mitigate the issue afterwards. So, in addition, whatever building is put on there must be consistent. And I know we're not at site plan yet with the brick and mortar buildings downtown, is what we would probably be expecting. So I don't want to set unrealistic expectations for the applicant. However, I would say that in the motion, we need to ensure that the site plan comes under scrutiny. If the use is approved tonight, the site plan must come before the Planning Commission and the Town Board. That make sense?
That's usually the way it works, isn't it?
No, we approved in the code administrative approval. So in this case, we'd want it to come before the board.
Mayor Austin, I
Yes.
appreciate that. I have the same thoughts, that staff would refer that up, the site plan.
Any other final comments from the board?
Yeah, I think that Pepper was pretty explicit in that it would necessarily not be a coffee shop, but could be any type of a drive-through. So it could be a McDonald's, it could be a Burger King, or whatever.
Right.
So all we are looking at tonight is conditional approval of a drive-through restaurant, period.
Right.
Nothing else.
Right. Okay. Any other final comments? I'll take a motion on the matter.
I'll make the motion. The board finds, after hearing testimony and examination of the documents presented, set forth in the staff report and the conditional use review application to allow a drive-through restaurant in the MUCD district on 19 and 20, Block 39, Town of Milliken, and Lot A, Block 39 of Iron Horse replat at the northeast corner of Broad Street and Harriet Avenue meets the provision of the land use code and approves the conditional use through Resolution 21-26, subject to the conditions outlined by staff.
I'll second.
It needs to be amended that it must come to the board.
Oh,
And the plat and the
Site plan.
applications and things need to come before the board.
Now you need to second after she
Second.
amended.
do you need a water?
Do you need some water, Linda?
I've got some.
Okay.
Okay, Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Trustee Grandquist,
Yes.
Trustee Long,
Yes.
Trustee Meisner,
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
I note the citizens' concerns about the backup of traffic. That's going to have to be mitigated in the site plan, so I will vote yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Next item on the agenda. Adoption of resolution number 2121, a resolution to adopt the 2022 budget. Wade Nicholson, Finance Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. The resolution 2121 is for the adoption of the budget. This budget is the same that was presented and discussed. The only changes to this were made to the property tax amounts based on the information we got from the state on our revenue limits. So I'll mention those couple numbers. The property tax in the general fund went up by $40,403, and it decreased by $65 in the debt service fund. So that was all that changed in this budget. I just wanted to make sure that that was noted for you. This budget runs from January 1st to December 31st next year. We'll submit it with approval before the deadline of January 31st to the state. We recommend approval, and I can take any questions.
Okay, questions from the board, starting with Trustee Granquist.
None for me at this time.
Trustee Long.
Nothing for me.
Trustee Wakeman.
Have you sent the final budget to us yet? I know that we've had the draft proposals all the way through.
Yeah, no, this final one I have not sent to you. We just got these numbers like on Thursday of last week from the state, and so I have not forwarded these to you at this time. I will, very quickly.
That's my only question.
Trustee Rodriguez?
No questions.
Trustee Meisner?
You're wanting approval on a budget that we haven't seen the final on?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
I have no questions.
Okay.
I mean, may I also note, the budget is attached to this to this item. So it's not like it hasn't been presented to you. It is attached to the board agenda.
Just for clarification, Wade, so the only items that aren't in there is the additional revenue we're receiving based on valuation?
That was the only thing that changed since our last discussion with the board was the 2 revenue line items.
We receive a preliminary valuation earlier in the year,
Correct,
I believe
yeah.
in August. So that just gives you a basis of an approximate of what they valued. And we don't receive the final valuation. Am I using the correct term?
Yes, the final valuation we didn't receive
And
until...
we don't receive that until typically December 1st.
Okay. Got where I was at.
Good
We're going to Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich, did you have any questions on the budget?
I did not.
Okay. Thank you. Any final questions or comments? I'll take a motion on the matter.
I move to approve Resolution 21-20, establishing the 20, and the wrong one. I am.
2121.
21-20.
We're on resolution 2121.
21.
Am I on?
Yeah,
Forgive
you're on the
me,
next one.
Sorry, I'm on the wrong one. I move to approve Resolution 2121 to adopt the 2022 annual budget.
Second.
Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Grandquist,
Yes.
Trustee Long,
Yes.
Trustee Meisner,
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, so we've got adoption of Resolution 21-20, resolution setting the mill levy for 2022 property tax revenue. Wade Nicholson.
Yeah, this resolution will set the property tax mill levy for the town. Historically, the mill levy has been at 28.623, the general mill levy. That's what it's going to be at for next year. The bond mill levy for the police building, the general obligation bonds, that mill levy is actually going down based on the valuation. And that mill levy is going to go from 2.496 down to 1.829. There is no mill levy credit. There's nothing like that this year. This is just a lowering for that, for the amount of revenue collected to meet our debt service requirements. We'll lower that as needed if the valuations continue to go up. Because we have very level debt, so we don't need to keep a bunch of money for our debt service. So to make just for comparison purposes, last year's mill levy was 31.037 mils, and will be slightly lower for the 2021 mill levy for the 2022 budget, and it'll be at 30.452 mils. So we'll be 0.585 mils lower than we were prior year.
Okay. Perfect. All right, questions on the mill levy, starting with Trustee Wakeman. Trustee Rodriguez.
No questions.
Trustee Meisner.
No questions?
Trustee Long.
Nothing.
Trustee Granquist.
None for me.
And Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
I have none.
Okay, I have no questions. I'll take a motion.
Move to approve Resolution 20-20 establishing the 2021 mill levy for the 2022 budget.
Second.
Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Long.
Yes.
Trustee Meisner.
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman.
Yes.
Trustee Granquist.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is the adoption of Resolution 21-25, a resolution updating the employee's money purchase plan. Wade Nicholson, Finance Director.
So this resolution is discussed during our budget work sessions. There was a desire to increase the amount of retirement contributions that the employees contribute as well as the town contributes to those accounts. Our plan requires that we need to resolve that this is done. The last time this was done was in 1997. One of our current trustees was the town clerk at that time. Anyway, what this will do, this will turn, it will require contributions from employees to increase from 2% to 4%, and the town's match will be increased from 3% to 6%. Like I said, we discussed these in the budget work sessions, and budget implications. We discussed this also, that it was about $20,000 per percent was what we had talked about, and it ends up being just a little bit under $58,000 as an increase in the budget for this item annually. And we recommend passing this resolution. Thank you.
Okay. Comments from the board. Trustee Granquist.
None for me.
Trustee Long.
Nothing for me.
Trustee Wakeman.
I have a question on the plan itself, I believe, and my question came up in reading our preparation for this tonight. So an employee is vested at 20% after the first year of employment. Does that happen mid-year or at the anniversary date of the employee or at the beginning of the next year? And does that add a problem for budgeting purposes?
No. It happens at their anniversary date. We budget as if the person's going to work the entire year. If they don't, then we assume that the next person in line will be similarly paid. And so it doesn't really create a budget problem for us. We collect and the town remits that money. They just may not, if they leave before the 5 years, before they're fully vested, they may not receive all of the town's portion of those contributions. But that's really all handled by the plan administrators versus it's not really included in our budget that way. If they do, we do use those forfeitures when that happens, when someone doesn't vest.
Okay, so.
But it's not really a budget concern per se now. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez.
No questions.
Trustee Meisner.
No questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
No questions.
I'll take a motion on the matter.
I move to adopt resolution number 21-25, updating the employee's money purchase plan effective January 1st, 2022.
Second.
Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Meisner.
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman.
Yes, I have a comment I would like to make too, is I'm glad to see our contributions getting a little bit more in line with other businesses rather than us being as low as we have been. So yes.
Trustee Granquist.
Yes.
Trustee Long,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next item on the agenda.
I could just make a quick comment too. I greatly appreciate on behalf of staff that the board recognize this, and going forward, this is going to serve our employees well. So thank you very much.
Okay. Happy to do it. And the next item on the agenda is approval of a professional service agreement for the selection and acceptance proposal for the audit of the town's financial statements. Getting tired of being up
I
there, Wade?
swear, this is the last one, I promise. So, the purpose of this is we needed some new auditors and we found some. We did an RFP. We got 5 bids, 4 of which were qualified. One we had to disqualify because they didn't meet our minimum requirements. We met with several of them, and we actually ended up taking the second to the lowest bid. We felt that would be the best value, going with Haney and Company. They've got an office here in Loveland, as well as most of their audit staff is in their Lakewood office. But they said they'll use a lot of their staff from Loveland on a job up here. Their fees actually are coming in a little bit lower than what we paid for our 2020 audit. And so we're excited about that. We were actually concerned that our rates would go up substantially. And so for them to be flat or just a smidge less was refreshing, to say the least. Yeah, I don't know really what else to say. They seem like a good company. We've met with them, and we would recommend the board's approval on hiring Haney and Company. Yeah, questions, please.
Questions from the board, starting with Trustee Granquist.
So first off, have you watched Green Acres?
Yeah.
And you know how Mr. Haney was, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just not the same Haney, right?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But
Just checking.
I can't
Just
confirm.
checking. 'Cause we know how the last company did, you know?
Okay, Trustee Long.
On that
Nothing
note,
from me.
Trustee Wakeman.
I have no questions.
Trustee Rodriguez.
I just have to ask, are we sure that they're going to meet the deadlines and not run through staff and be there for you?
Well, yes, we got a really good feel. We interviewed several of the firms, and we got a really good feel for them. Time will tell. The first year is always a little more, it's more difficult, and I'll say that up front. But our goal is to meet all the deadlines. If this is approved tonight, we already have a meeting with them tomorrow. So they're wanting to get going on this as soon as they have the approval. Also,
So they designated like one person to you, us?
they actually designated 2 directly to us. One is the lead audit manager, and the other is the managing partner of the audit piece of the firm. They do tax and audit, sorry. And so both of them are already on my speed dial.
Thank you.
Trustee Meisner.
So if we don't approve this, you've got a meeting set up for.
Oh yeah, I'll cancel it, and then we will not meet any deadlines for the 2021 audit. No,
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
I have no questions.
Neither do I, thank
I
goodness.
have one more
Wade.
question, though.
Yes.
On a serious note, have you talked to any of their other clients by chance?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually know a lot of their other clients.
Okay. So the rapport is good? Okay.
Yeah. They come pretty highly rated by the people I know that I've talked to that have used them. Okay. They do several hundred local and quasi-governmental audits a year. So they know what they're doing, it would be my opinion.
Thank you.
And in all seriousness, Trustee Meisner, if you don't approve it, we'll probably go down the line and pick the next one and bring it back to you.
I'll take a motion on the matter now.
I move that the town approve the audit proposal submitted by Hain and Company for performing the audit of the town's financial statements for December 31, 2021, and authorize the town administrator to execute an engagement contract in accordance with the terms and conditions outlined in the proposal submitted.
Second.
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Granquist?
Yes.
Trustee Long?
Yes.
Trustee Meisner?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no other business to come before the board tonight. We will adjourn at 7:40 p.m. Good night.